because of the tariffs. And for the first time, the report is expected to show the impact of President Trump and Elon Musk's sweeping cuts to the federal workforce. Martha?
And our thanks to Selena. I'm joined now by Diane Swonk, Chief Economist and Managing Director at the accounting firm KPMG. It's great to see you this morning. Diane, these are slated to be the most significant rounds of tariffs yet. The president calls it Liberation Day. There's already reaction with the markets tumbling on Friday after some gains. So what are you seeing?
Well, what we're seeing is we've seen consumers are already very concerned about this, and there's some hunkering down behavior. Even the Federal Reserve's Beige Book, which sort of looks at economic conditions across all the different districts, there's not only reports of people front-running tariffs, trying to produce and stockpile ahead of tariffs, but also increases in price and the intention to pass them on to consumers, which is why consumers are not very happy at the moment. What we're also concerned about is what employment is looking like, because we've had two consumer surveys now. One is a Conference Board, one is the University of Michigan Sentiment Survey, and they both show two things: an increase in inflation expectations and a deterioration in job expectations and job security. That's a very worrisome combination. It has that flavor of stagflation to it, a mild bout of stagflation.
And so what is the outlook because of that for consumers? What should they be thinking?
Well, we've seen across every income group, every age, every demographic, every wealth strata, and every party affiliation, a major deterioration in consumer confidence. Even the wealthiest households, which now account for a disproportionate amount of overall spending, they're starting to say that they're not confident in the economy and their future finances. That's very important because they account for almost half, 10% of households account for almost half of all spending in the U.S. economy, which also speaks to how the inequality that we are already seeing in the U.S. economy, which is quite stark. And that's why we worry about tariffs, because tariffs are a regressive tax. They hit those with low and middle incomes much harder than higher incomes. But even among the highest income strata, you're seeing sort of a tentativeness. And on days where we see the stock market go down, you can literally see almost in real time spending at luxury goods stores pull back. And I think that's important to remember as well.
And Diane, specifically on the 25% tariffs on cars and car parts made outside the U.S., Trump said prices will go down because it will incentivize companies to build in the U.S. Do you agree?
The economics does not suggest that at all, and I'm not alone. It's the economic consensus that actually, in fact, car prices will go up. And what we tend to see is some of it will be absorbed in margins and some of it will show up in layoffs as higher costs go up in terms of production. But it's just very hard to find things that are solely produced in the United States. And even those car makers that are most insulated from tariffs do get some kind of parts from abroad or steel that is going to increase the cost of that vehicle. Another important issue is the uncertainty of tariffs via executive order. They can literally change with, a pen stroke. Because of that, there's no certainty on how long they'll actually last. And that's important when you're thinking about building a plant and bringing production back. That takes 3 to 5 years to do, and then you've got to have the workers to be able to work in it. That's not an easy commitment to make when you don't know what the future is actually going to hold with regard to tariffs.
Sounds like a lot to worry about there, Diane, but we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Also breaking late this week, the sudden departure of the FDA's top vaccine expert, Dr. Peter Marks. This coming as the workforce at HHS is being slashed by 25%, and the measles outbreak across the country is growing. So let's bring in Dr.